So, welcome to the spoilers discussion for John Wick Chapter 4. We currently have the two producers in different locations right now. Jake, how you doing?
Good. I'm at a John Wick screening here in a undisclosed location.
Yeah, Jake is currently 5 hours away from my location. So, we had meant to do the spoilers discussion before, but obviously a lot going on. It's hard to plan stuff. But nonetheless, we're going to get into the spoilers because John Wick has a lot of spoilers here. See Kalen Branch in the chat. How you doing? So, why don't we go start out with Jake? Your initial thoughts of John Wick again, since we have seen it 3 times.
Yeah, you've seen it three. If you haven't seen a non-spoiler review, definitely check that out. This movie was literally a perfect movie. It's hard to really describe just how much I love this movie, and I really could go back to see it again and again and again. And I'm honestly thinking about seeing it again here soon. It was just an absolutely stellar movie. It respected the fans. It respected the lore. It was a great, just every single aspect of the movie, from the music, the acting, the action sequences, the storyline, just everything was absolutely perfect. And it left me, but honestly, I was like on the edge of my seat. All the times I watched it, and I'm telling you, it was just an absolutely perfect movie. I know we might say a little too much on the channel, but this is an absolutely perfect 10 out of 10 movie, 1,000 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, I don't know how this is gonna show up on YouTube after this is posted, but hopefully it looks good. Because
down or something.
So if you're not watching this live, I don't know what this is gonna look like. But yeah, I guess I'll reiterate my initial thoughts of the movie. It was a perfect movie. Okay, I can't say it's a perfect movie because I have flaws. But it is a perfect movie.
We need like 12 windows. Like that's what I'm.
Yeah, no, we need like 10 people. No, well, I think I can only add people that are able to do this feature. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
I don't know though. I have to check that because if we can, we need to get like 10 people in. But no, but yeah, it was a perfect movie, and we've seen it 3 times. You know, if we see a movie 2 times, it's a great movie. And then if you see it 3, you know you're talking one of the best. Yeah. And I've just been looking back at scenes. I've been looking up scenes on YouTube, and there's so many spoilers. Do we just want to get into the biggest spoiler of them all right away?
Let's just start there, I guess, with the ending, and then we can go scene by scene, or at least our favorite scenes. But I guess let's just start out with the question that everyone's probably waiting to hear from us: is John Wick actually dead? I know you know, Kenny, where I stand on this. I think honestly, the first time I saw it, I was fighting it. I'm like, come on, like it's 100% he's still alive. And obviously they ended it the way they did to leave it open for the possibility for him to return. And there's numerous ways for him to still be alive, and I'll get into that here in a little bit. But what I think was so good about the movie was, like, if they did want to close off his storyline, they really did close it up here. Like they had like an epic way for him to go out. His storyline pretty much is settled from what we know. There's obviously more angles they could go down the road if they wanted to with the high table, but they do obviously end this movie with him apparently dying on the footsteps of some, like, I don't know, it was a church or some kind of a cathedral, but it shows him like he's sitting there after he was just shot in the abdomen by Kane in a shootout, and obviously we'll get into more thoughts on that here in a second. But it shows him he's sitting there and he sees Helen, his wife, and he says Helen, and then he drops. And the one complaint that I would say I have is I wish they would cut away from this sooner, because I didn't like how they showed him laying there not moving for way too long. I wanted to cut away so I could be like, okay, they only showed like a couple of seconds, but they showed it for.
He been tired.
He was tired. But yeah, it's frustrating because Winston was right there. Someone could just tape that up and he's fine. I mean, John Wick has fallen off how many buildings? He's been hit by how many cars? He's been shot by how many bullets? He's been punched. He's been windmill kicked by Killa. Like, he's taken a lot of hits. So I guess first let's hear your thoughts on the ending of the movie. What you think? I think, in my opinion, I think he's still alive. But if they can't come up with a good enough story to bring him back, this is the perfect way to end his storyline because these four movies are absolutely perfection. It would be a shame to have them come back and then ruin the next one. You know, kind of like
Yeah,
how I don't want John Wick ends to be like that.
yeah. I mean, when we were first watching it, I was really just caught off guard by the whole movie. I expected it to be good, but no way did I expect it to be this good. So I was just more surprised by each scene. I was happier each scene I watched. And then by the ending, like you said, it was a really good way to send him off. And the way they did it was really well done. That they paid respect to him, and
Yeah.
he died to a friend, and it was just in a very good way how they did it. I think the only like I expected kind of like Caesar in Planet of the Apes, like when you got these big characters. And like Iron Man, he had a big way going out. I always imagine the Leonidas ending where he's taking on like a whole army, the arrows come down. It's like the
Uh,
most epic way possible. But I do think the way John's on the steps is really epic and he falls. But there is a lot of things about really suspicious things that make me think he's alive. I was for sure he was dead watching the first time. I was thinking, all right, that's a good way to send him off. But there's a lot of things, especially I was just watching the third John Wick. Not only was what's his name, Kane, shot in the same spot in this movie, but remember when he shoots the doctor in this third one? He
yeah.
tells him to shoot him right there.
Yeah.
So that's really weird too. And like you said, he's survived so much crap to this point that I there's no way you can say he's dead. I mean, you can't confirm it to this
Obviously,
point.
no, you can't confirm it, but you are right. Like if you think about it, obviously John Wick probably could have shot Kane right in the face if he wanted to on the first shot. Both of them had a mutual agreement there to kind of like take shots in the arms, and I guess
Yeah,
that's the spot that you're talking about where the doctor gets shot in John Wick 3. Um, right at the beginning. So it is very suspicious, and it makes it's like I said, the main director said himself. Like I forget what his name is. It's like Chad Stahelski or something, or I can't think of his name is, but great director. And he uh he said like there's so many parts at the end that make you like he could still be alive. You never see his body in the coffin. You never the ground itself. It doesn't even look like they just dug out a hole. Like usually when someone's
yeah.
buried, there's stuff there. Um,
But Joel mentioned. Joel
yeah,
mentioned Brown was.
yeah. Joel brought that point up. There's also this one I didn't notice till the third time I saw it. I was reading the comments, and apparently, if you look at the dog, his current dog, there's a part where it zooms in on the dog's face, and the dog looks to like the left, and he easily could have been looking where John Wick was, or like knew John Wick was out there. So next time
Yeah,
you look for that, that's kind of a little Easter egg there. And also when the Bowery King asks Winston, he says, "Do you think John Wick's in heaven or hell?" And
yeah.
Winston like, "Who knows?" I think Winston
And then
100%.
he laughs as he walks away.
Well, that's true. Yeah, the Bowery King does laugh, but
He probably laughed
uh,
no matter what. He's just
it could have ended with them walking down that same stairs. It's like, behold, the mother effing gang.
yeah, that's actually a good segue to because we kind of went from the end. If we go all the way back to the beginning, that beginning scene where I mean, the movie starts out just in the most epic way possible. I was just watching back that scene like a really bad quality, but I mean, we were watching this in the front row of a friggin'
Yeah,
what do you call it, IMAX friggin' theater, and the
yeah.
way they open it up, they just hype up John Wick in this movie more than they ever have, and the fact that he's just going in punching this friggin' thing. I mean, they could not have hyped him up more, and that scene is just beyond epic.
It's just, and it's also like they did it in a way that was one character ever disrespected? Like that's the thing. Every character is respected to where like no one was crappy on John Wick, and when they do, there's reasons for that. Like that scene where he's being hung. Like they're not just doing that to like make fun of John Wick and act like they're better. There's a reason why they were doing that. Their father was killed because of John Wick killing the elder at the start of this
Yeah,
movie. So there's like they always respect the characters. Not only do they respect the characters, but they respect the fans, which is such a rare thing here in Hollywood nowadays, here in 2023. Like I'm telling you, there's so many scenes like we're kind of bouncing around everywhere now. But that one sequence is like it's like a video game where it shows the aerial view of John Wick inside that building. when they started switching to the music, I couldn't even believe it the first time. I thought I was like dreaming.
Oh yeah.
First, it shows like I listen to the soundtracks all the time. So they start playing the shots fired Red Circle music from the second one, or I forget it was one. No, it was the third, first or second, whichever one it was. It's a callback, and then on top of that, they go to the main song from the first one when he's chasing after the guy who killed his dog, and it's just there's that things like that. Like a direct or a reviewer and someone who doesn't care about this universe isn't gonna connect with that. But for me, like I was like, this is just I couldn't have been smiling more. I almost teared up. It was that perfect and just like a perfect time in the theater. Um, and just a constant respect for John Wick, like those the slow motion shots in the club in Berlin. That's obviously an epic scene. The opening where yeah he's punching into the and it keeps cutting to like the city, and it's and just in that little sequence, you didn't even have to get a whole montage of him healing back. You just know that he was down there. And then I don't know if
Yeah.
you mentioned the way that the Bowery King obviously walks in and says, "Behold, the effing king," but the fire goes around perfectly. He holds it up, and then obviously the yeah thing. I always thought that was just like a thing that we always talked about, but then for them to know that he says yeah that much, it just blew me away. They how many times did he say yeah in this movie? Like 5, 6 times.
A lot. I mean, they play on that a lot. They definitely do. This movie did remind me of Halloween Kills in the way that they respected the character so much.
Yeah.
But the thing that is kind of bittersweet about John Wick dying in this movie is that if there was another one, I'd be worried about them effing it all up. So part of me
Yeah.
almost wishes they just ended because I'm worried about what they would do.
Right.
But and so that's why the prequel stuff I'm okay with because I'm more comfortable with that because I hope they don't f it up, but they still could.
If we want to mention that really fast, the next movie in this universe is called The Ballerina, and it takes place between the third John Wick and this last, most recent fourth John Wick. And it's a storyline that goes back to the third one with that one place, I believe, with the ballerina girls. It's kind of like the Black Widow reference, honestly.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
John Wick is in this movie. So I don't even care how long he's in it. Just the fact that we get to have him on screen again, no matter what, is amazing to think about. And there's a series. I don't know if it's on HBO Max or something. Uh, that covers the Continental with Winston when he was younger, and I think Mel Gibson's in it. So I'm not sure if John Wick is going to appear in that, but it's awesome that this universe is so well built that not like before there was already characters that I wanted to go back to, but now we have Kane, who's an epic character. Like, let's talk about Kane. The opening to him was such a perfect opening. Like, it shows him. It shows he has a daughter. He can't get near her because of him being a part of the under the table and being an assassin. And for
Yeah.
a while, I first thought, like, how is this guy? He's blind. Like, can he really be that impressive? Like, what can he actually do? And talking about once again, just I mean, how many entrances in this movie are perfect? When Kane's in that kitchen, now
Yeah.
even before that's pretty cool. But he's like eating soup, and then the music plays, and he
His
like
theme, yeah, his
yeah,
theme.
he has that punch like 1,000 times in someone's face.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what was going on. I for a second I thought, is he a kind of character that like just gets lucky and like he's just really lucky and everything's that's what I was kind of thinking because when he started placing the bombs, like, is he just a really sneaky guy? Like, but then he can actually fight. It's like, holy crap, he can
Yeah,
actually fight. But I did want to mention before we get into that the Bowery King, that quote in the beginning, because I was watching it, it's that the exact quote is he starts like that whole monologue, you know. Then he says, "You are now in the presence of the mother effing king." And that was definitely a perfect line for that. But
classic. Yeah,
because the Bowery King, even though he's not in it this much, he's an awesome character, and I was wishing he's actually in it a lot more. Uh, but yeah, so Kane in the movie, yeah, that opening scene where uh, he just like is taking people out, he's dodging people, he's placing those like doorbell things to where he can tell where they are, and he
yeah,
freaking just like punches the guy 10 times in a row, and he's freaking just destroying people. And
yeah.
there's so many. But before that, we have to mention the freaking boss walk from what's his name
Oh, Koshi,
is
Kochi.
where's
Again, it's Kochi.
are you sure?
Yes.
Where I thought I had his name down. What am I looking at right now?
It's Kane. It's definitely coaching. Because when they go to the Osaka Continental, um,
Is that Shimazu? Is that not his name?
well, I'm talking about his character's name. His character's name is
No.
Kochi.
I thought that was his character's name. But yeah, whatever. Okay.
Our dad
So
said
Coach,
BK said that he was from he's in The Last Samurai with
all
Tom
right.
Cruise.
Yeah, so he to think, and he's also in Mortal Kombat, which I never saw. I'm pretty sure, but talk about an amazing side character that unfortunately dies. There's a lot
Yeah,
now. The Sharon dying. I mean, he unfortunately passed away. So that,
yeah.
but even without that, he was going to die, and he died in the movie. And then you got Koshi dying. Then you got. I mean, you should have a lot of these characters dying.
Really in the first act, a great character dies in the first act.
Yeah. Which I do have my theories about whether he was actually going to stay dead because of the way they did that. But then again, he got shot like right in the chest. I don't know how they would have, because you didn't really see him. Yeah, that one is going to be harder to get away from. But
He's dead. He's definitely dead.
for some reason, I thought they were going to have him and John Wick like go to some secret society or something after that. But yeah, that walk from and that like before that main scene
Marquis.
in Japan is just freaking to the one of the best songs of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the best freaking beat drop songs
I played.
possible. You know, we'll get freaking copyrighted to heck if we play that.
How about before we even get into more characters? There's too many to talk about. I mean, obviously, Kochi's daughter Akira has a really cool scene there at the beginning where she fights with John Wick, and I can't. This is the one song that I can't find when they it cuts to them on the escalator and someone comes falling down. That music beat, then it goes back to normal. When she's like stabbing that guy going up the stairs, the choreography. Let's just say that the choreography for this movie is perfect. I mean, the scenes
Yeah.
with his cane, like going back and forth and two, then he throws the freaking the flashbang and says lights out right to the
Yeah.
perfect scene. It's just awesome.
Let's,
But
yeah.
Akira has an awesome scene where she's stabbing that guy up the stairs. And Howie, or someone who joined the watched the review there, grandpa, like I did the same thing. Like we were like squinting our eyes because it's like so painful to imagine getting stabbed that many times.
I know the freaking. I just weird because that's just a freaking giant guy, but those suits are like bulletproof. I don't know whether they were actually going through or not, but like I mean, eventually they definitely did.
Yeah,
But yeah, that was a pretty crazy scene. And
yeah,
but even before that, the arrows that she was firing,
yeah.
what was up with those arrows? But they were friggin' like
Yeah.
powerful arrows.
If you look carefully when they're outside on the rooftop, one of the soldiers with the mask on gets hit in the chest, then the head immediately. It's like stuck to the wall. That's how hard those things are. Um,
Yeah,
but I will say, the movie is obviously John Wick. He's human. He obviously gets hurt a lot. You can see he's taking blow for blow. But the thing is like Kochi dies. Akira gets shot. Basically, she got shot. She's limping around. Kane was shot. John Wick was shot. Marquis, a villain character that we're going to talk about here in a second, he gets shot. Even now that's the guy's name I don't know. One of your favorite guys who in the Osaka scene kills a guy like this. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
So his name is Chidi. So I don't know how to say it.
I
Shitty, shitty. I don't know how to say his name. It sounds like I'm saying a cuss word. But that's his name. I'll just call him the freaking no. Let's call him the car dodging assassin.
the crabby tree.
Yeah. No. Here, I'll show a picture of him. This guy here. Because I'm looking at the cast. This guy is a freaking underrated.
Show him dodging the car.
I will get freaking struck to the ground for sure. But
Just like
no, hey, this villain is one of the most underrated villains. This guy is probably one of the best fighters in the movie, but he has some boss scenes. So let's just talk about that main scene where you got Kochi facing off with the main marquee continental, not continental, the high table guys, all the guys with the suits, and John Wick's on the rooftop, and basically Kochi is good friends with John Wick, and he's basically saying like he's willing to sacrifice everything to not sell out John Wick, which is pretty cool. Like that's how much respect he has for John Wick. He's willing to not sell him out because that's how good of a friend he is.
Just a quick side point because I feel like that's worth mentioning. I was talking about this before the movie even started. This world has such a great sense of like making relationships and staying loyal. Now, obviously, with the markers, that's more of a like obviously in the second one, that guy, the villain in that character, villain in that movie, uses that connection in a bad way. But there's a lot of like in the third one, the doctor who wasn't supposed to help him, you can tell he cares about John Wick. Like so many people know John Wick and respect him,
Yeah.
and Kochi risking his entire like business, his entire hotel, and his own life for John Wick. He has a great line when before he's about to die fighting Kane. He said, "How far have you fallen to forget or to think that our only uh, debts come in the form of markers, like showing that like you can still owe someone without having a marker on
Yeah.
somebody." So there's and the dialogue is just it's great.
Well, yeah,
Um,
that's another quote that I wrote down because I remember this quote from Kochi that says, "Friendship means little when it's convenient." I thought that was a great quote there.
like,
It's like that's like
even
really a quote we should all live by.
and then after Kane beats him for the first time in that one like little samurai battle, uh, Kane's like, or he said that he doesn't need eyes to know that you've lost, and then Coach is like, you don't need eyes to see the right path.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you said you thought he was a zombie at that point.
No, there was a weird. Well, he takes his glasses off and his eyes are glowing. So for a second, I thought, does he have superpowers?
Yeah.
Is he? Does he have some supernatural element? Because the way the camera was shot, it looked like his eyes were glowing, like he was a freaking demon. But
Yeah,
he
uh,
was just obviously really
but
well trained.
there is something to that because that's the one thing that wasn't explained. Obviously, our dad talked about this. He said like sometimes when you're blind like that, you have obviously in this world of movies, you can be a little more intact or in what's
Heightened
the
sense.
yeah or like extra sense to like be able to like see where kind of like imagine where things are. But how did he know what cards he had in the card game?
Yeah,
That
that could be explained. I don't understand that one.
should we use that to get into the Killa sequence in Berlin?
Yeah, I was thinking. Why don't we mention the? I was thinking because I kind of wrote some notes down. We were introduced to Tracker,
Yeah,
that I
that's
thought
true.
we should mention because I'm pretty sure it's the last character we need to mention before I think we've hit all of them. Because the Tracker's introduced, he walks into the hotel with his dog, and which that was something that confused me from the trailer. When I saw a dog in the trailer, I figured it was uh,
Hi,
Halle Berry's character, but turns out it's actually the Tracker. And he's introduced, and it is an interesting element to this movie that I think helps it a lot because he's essentially helping John Wick stay alive to get a higher bounty. And John Wick obviously knew semi what he was doing before that, which is why he didn't kill him because he figured it helps to have him there because he's literally helping me stay alive. And
right.
he's making these deals and purposely effing them up just to make the
Right.
bounty go up. And
And
so,
that's one thing that was never. Like, let us know in the comments, guys, if you're seeing this live or after. What was he talking about? Because I've seen it 3 times now, and on the right side of that page, he's like looking at the numbers of how much he needs. But then on the right side, it's a drawing of his dog with 48 million next to it. So it's almost like does he need that much money to keep the dog, or is that the money that like that the 48 million had to mean something with the dog because that's 48 million was right underneath the dog. That's I don't know if the name's dog or maybe that's the dog's name. Uh, but on the left side, obviously he needed a lot more than what the 20 million that was originally offered, or it was like 11, then 20, then 26, then he said 35, then 40. The comedy really worked in this movie a lot. I mean, those scenes where he keeps telling the Marquis that he wants more money, and Marquis is like, okay, 40 million. It kind of was like the
he breaks
like
up phone.
yeah, and then it's honestly like the Jack Reacher sequence where he
Yeah,
throws and he's like, boom, boom.
slams a phone.
I wish you'd have broke one more and then asked for another phone.
No, and then, wait, what was I going to say? No, we're talking about, I guess we can mention the trackers. Well, I do think the 50 million was like his goal. I don't think it had anything to do with the dog, but then again, I could definitely be wrong. I
Yeah,
think, but then there was the scene with the marquee and the tracker where he says, "I want 25 million, then 25 million in my 401k," and then
yeah.
he basically, once
Love,
they agree, he stabs him with a
yeah,
knife and
love me.
says, "You can either pull your hand out or pull the knife out."
That's true. Or that line from Marquis was if you pull it out, that means it's a man committed to himself, and if you drive your hand through it, that means it's a man committed to the cause. And he
Yeah,
So he's committed to the cause.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I mean, the knife was like right in his hand. I mean, for him to pull his hand out, I mean, you'd have so much nerve damage and stuff in your hand. I don't think you would ever
Was hey in the
be.
movie's defense was taped up the rest of the movie.
Well, yeah, but I just don't think that can heal. I mean, could that heal back?
Well, no, but I also don't think John Wick can jump out of a 5-story building and hit the freaking
Yeah.
thought. That.
Well, I know. I'm not. I'm not trying to say it's unrealistic. That's brutal. I just don't think you'd ever be able to use that hand again for anything. I mean, but
No.
that was a brutal scene. It's still. I knew there was going to be some like hard to watch scenes. It feels like every John Wick movie has that. Whether it's the pencil, the
There was a pencil. There was a little pencil reference in this. Kane stabbed someone with a pencil.
yeah, not nearly as bad though. Luckily, because that's freaking brutal.
Yeah. Well,
But
even with the when he gets the tooth from Killa, which we'll talk about here in a second. Him and his sister, they like brand their forearm, which and then they freaking they pour alcohol on it, which is freaking even worse.
that would feel good. No, but yeah, I guess why don't we? Like, after that, he talks to Winston, and then Winston's like asking John Wick about. He's like trying to get him to stop, and then 2 seconds later, he's like, "Well, John Wick, you get your revenge." So he was like bashing John Wick for wanting revenge, and then he's like, "I want revenge," and then John Wick goes to the family, gets shot by a freaking priest by a shotgun.
Hold on. Here's the thing with that though. Like John Wick just wanted to kill Marquis. That was it. And Winston was like, okay. And then they'll appoint somebody. They'll appoint the next Marquis before his body's even cold, or whatever he said. And then he's like, do it the smart way. Kill him and make him give you or give him your freedom.
Yeah.
Or whatever the word was. And then, but obviously Winston always has an angle and added
He's manipulative.
And if Winston met with Marquis and was like, "Listen, if John Wick beats you in a duel, then I want my hotel back paid for and like all this stuff," which she gets obviously in the end. But then
At
that
the high table's expense.
But the reason they talked about that though was because he said the Marquis would have to accept the duel if he was part of a family that was attached to the high table, which John Wick wasn't, because in the third one his ticket was torn. If you remember that sequence. With the lady at the ballerina spot, and he had to go to
get a friggin' hot, friggin' steaming hot thing burned in your back. That's the ticket being torn.
Yeah, right. So he had to re-get burned to get back into the family. But basically, no, you're right. Winston was like, then I suggest you get your butt to Berlin. And he's like, and then John Wick said, why do you want this so bad? He's like something that you're so good at. And then he said revenge. And then the music's an epic song showing him walk to Berlin. And that's where I will admit, the first time I saw this, I didn't understand exactly what this family was, what this group was. Because he walks into this church and he gets shot by the freaking father.
By a freaking shotgun right to the chest.
Yeah, it was a brutal hit. So that was pretty, and it was actually pretty cool too, because when they stand him up, you hear all the stuff pour off of him. That shell literally blew up in his chest. But then you see him being hung, and he's trying to talk as his throat's being strangled. And we can kind of just quickly gloss over this section, because they talk back and forth, and basically at the end you hear this family he was adopted from as a kid, and then the person in charge tells his sister like he is right. If he can get the crest to join our family again, he can actually go to the Marquis and fight him in a duel, and I guess that would make them safer from something. But in order for him to get back in the family, his sister said, "You have to kill the man that killed my father," and I had to kneel in front of this man. And I'm like, "Who is this guy? Who does shit to kneel in front of?" And then they show one of my
wait, before you get in that, we should catch up with the comments before you get to that though.
Who's in here? Jojo, good to see you.
Yeah, JoJo's in here. See, you haven't seen John Wick yet, but I definitely recommend it.
Out, JoJo.
The 5 nights at Trolls World Tour, talking about Godzilla losing, and it was brutal. Hey, but he's gonna get another chance. He's already got like 2 titles under his belt, so he's got to recover and come back strong next year. But so yeah, do we want to get into possibly the best character in the movie? Stole the show.
Yeah,
absolute boss.
Definitely stole the show, and Scott Adkins' portrayal of Keela. Uh, I
Let's get a
mean,
picture of him here.
just and then wait, let's not forget who got him in there. Klaus got him in there, which is
Yeah, Klaus, great character, stole the show too.
without Klaus, that scene would never happen. Uh,
Klaus had all the inside information. here, here is the best character in the freaking movie right here.
this guy, no JoJo, please check it out, man. I think you'll love it.
No, seriously, this guy.
Yeah, so
When this scene started out, I thought, who the heck? I was thinking, this is ridiculous. Who is this character? Like, what is happening? And I was starting to think, okay, this movie's starting to go downhill a little bit. Like, this might be a ridiculous scene here. But I love Rounders, one of my favorite movies. It's a card movie. So the card aspect was really fun. The card game aspect was fun. And then this leads into possibly, I mean, I think still my favorite scene of the movie, probably. Because basically, what should I start out the beginning parts of the scene and then you go into the fighting part?
John Wick walks in, and then obviously Kane and then Tracker both are there as well, which leads to them those four being in a card duel. Wait,
Yeah,
what was it? The game two,
5 hand draw or 5 card draw.
five card
One,
draw.
one. Yeah.
Let's give credit where credit is due. Killa is a great shuffler. He had a great little like trick, and then what was the movie? He's like, see who lives, and then who dies.
Yeah, he catches an ace, but he definitely knew how to rig the game at that point. They should have known. But yeah, so basically he hands out 5 cards. And I don't exactly know what game they're playing, but you can exchange 2 cards. He's obviously rigging everything. So he gives John Wick the dead man's hand, which it might have just been that no matter what, because it was just a bad hand. I'm not sure. Then he gives the Tracker the full house, right? And then
Tracker had a royal flush.
royal flush, yeah.
Kane had well, John Wick had a dead man.
Full house, even a freaking thing.
Kane, first Kane's like, let's see, and he like laughs. He's obviously blind.
Yeah.
But I forget what his was called. It was I
No,
forget what.
four fours and a 9.
Yeah, and
And
then
which I don't know how he knew that, or 4 9s and a king, whatever it was. He had 4 of a kind, which I don't know how he knew that, and we still can't explain that yet. But it doesn't really matter.
It's like Killa's like no nines, no nines.
Yeah. Yeah, this does remind me of, if you've seen Rounders, the what's it called? KGB. If you've seen that movie, he's friggin' a card boss. He's hilarious. And I'd love to see Killa and KGB playing a card game. That would be probably my favorite movie of all time. But yeah, and so they basically go around to where basically the Tracker should win because he has the best hand. But then I don't know whether that's better than 4 of a kind.
But yes, 5 9.
Yeah. But then Killa is giving this speech about one that wants to kill his way out, one that wants to shoot his way out, and one that wants to
It was
buy his way out.
one wants to shoot his way out, one wants to kill his way out, one wants to buy his way out, and that was a great line too, because obviously John Wick, they all want to kill John Wick at this point. I mean, obviously Kane doesn't want to, because Kane, we didn't really mention that Kane had worked with John Wick in the past and they're really good friends. But he has to kill John Wick in order to save his daughter, which is why he said he would have to do it. But then Tracker made a good line where he's like, "I'm one bullet away from being a really very rich man," and and then Killa's like, "We're a dead one," and then
Well, then Killa also says, he's like, I don't care if it's a blind man or a dog. Like, he makes some statement. He doesn't give a who kills John.
yeah, first he's like, he said, a blind man, a guy with a dog, and John Wick all sit at the table. Is this the start of a very hilarious joke, or or the
Tremendous.
start of a very wealthy opportunity?
Killa once again has all these funny lines. And then they add to the humor when he has an inhaler, which I mean, I can make fun of that because I use an inhaler, so it makes me okay. No, it's a funny scene. And then basically he reveals he has 5 of a kind, which if you play cards, unless it's some kind of game I don't know about, you shouldn't be allowed to have 5 of a kind. It just proved he was cheating. Unless it's a game I've never played before. So it revealed he was cheating, and he flips the card over like perfectly and reveals in the most obvious way ever that he's screwing everyone over and that he's gonna kill everyone. so he gives John plenty of time to freaking make a move. So John cuts him like on the neck with the one of the cards, and then all the crap starts happening. Tracker sends his dog to kill one of the guys. Everyone just starts fighting. There's a million guys around. Killa's running out of there and runs into the freaking club
Yeah.
that he owns, and then that's kind of where it goes.
Right before we get into the club sequence, it is kind of crazy. That was like the one time we got the three of them working together. I was always hoping for, you got the scene with Kane and John Wick walking up the stairs, which was really epic that we'll get into later on. But that was one sequence where the three of them work together, which is pretty cool to see. Because obviously he shoots him in the butt, and he chases him into the club. And this is probably the best club sequence I would say, right? Out of all the
Oh,
John
yeah.
Wick.
I mean, well,
The first one has the best, I think, moment, just because
yeah.
the impact of him killing the dog and like all just the suffering that he put him through. Even though this one though, there's just they upped it. Like there's a sequence where like they show it from far away and everyone's just dancing and there's slow motion shots. Um, and I'll be honest, the first time I saw the slow motion shot, it looked weird at the first time I saw it, but the more I watch it, it looks amazing.
Because it's
'Cause
like the waterfall opening up.
well, no, that was perfect. It was when he first comes into the room in slow motion. Like it was like
Yeah, it's like a freaking portrait. It's just like
yeah,
so perfect.
yeah, yeah. But the water opening up was epic, and then obviously he kills the first couple henchmen, and then it opens up and Killis is sitting there. And this is the first time like we're like Killis kind of like a Weasley character. Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, you said it yourself. You think John Wick underestimated Killis' abilities?
Oh yeah. No, he definitely underestimated him. I think that was the thing. John Wick was kind of locking in, like, all right, let's just get this over with. And he's just so sick and tired. He was probably thinking it was what, a couple punches and it was over. But
Yeah,
instead, Killa freaking decides to put on a freaking clinic there. And
yeah,
he gives John Wick a run for his money. And
yeah.
this is what I was saying in the movies. I don't know whether they intended this or not, but Kingpin is a very popular villain for the comics who's this giant guy in a suit and he's this absolute boss. And I think that's who they were going for there to copy because
Well, this
Kingpin, epic villain.
odd boss type guy.
Yeah, so I think that's who they were imitating. But yeah, basically, John goes in, or Killa says, "You shot me in the butt, you bee," and
A guy.
then they start fighting, and John lands maybe one punch,
Yeah,
but then Killa freaking dodges one, throws John. We're losing connection, Jake. Wait, you still there?
yeah.
Wait, you're frozen. All right, you're back. No, so I think John lands like one punch, and then Killa freaking delivers like a punch, and then throws him down, delivers a kick, and then freaking drags him off the freaking waterfall. And then that's kind of, but the main theme when Killa appears in the crowd and they stand off is the highlight of the movie. I think that's the best part, one of the best parts of the movie.
And again, this can't be taken lightly, guys. The soundtrack for this movie is absolutely perfect. I mean,
Yeah,
just today when I was working out, I had songs from this movie playing. It is just like it's just you can like I was listening to the Berlin scene where he's fighting Killa, and it puts you in the middle of that scene, and like I was imagining like axes flying around, and but you're right, Killa. I think he does a couple body slams with John Wick, then he drags him up the stairs, and does one of his most impressive spin kicks, which sends
yeah,
him over the waterfall. And then this scene here made me laugh out loud. Um, so like they show John Wick like laying there, and the music stops, and then like this beat starts to play, and they show Kill at the top floor pointing down, like telling his guys where to go. The first time I saw it, I thought he was like laughing at him on the ground, but then you see his guy sprinting down the next level to try to get down to him. And then this is where the sequence starts, where he fights people in the water, and there's an epic scene of him throwing an axe, and it shows a guy doing backflips. So once again, the
yeah,
choreography,
blocking the axes and freaking
yeah,
yeah.
the stunt guys did a phenomenal job of this movie. They cannot. Those guys did this. I mean, they did a great job. There's a scene where
Yeah,
a guy
that stops
later.
the movie because a lot of the times movies they do like the close up action, you know, that you can't see what's going on. And this, it's all actually happening. I mean, they're
Yeah,
not actually killing each other, but it's real uh, fight scenes. Like they're actually they're real. It's not CGI. It's not too close. You can see what's going on, which I appreciate so much from an action movie standpoint.
and then this gets into the final aspect of the club's fight here. All of a sudden, he kills his henchman, and all of a sudden, or most of them, Then Killa comes down and he pushes two dancers out of the way, and then starts to fight again. At this point, I'm like, I can't believe he came back down and like finished the job. This gives more coin to Killa. He's not just a weasel. Like he came down wanting to fight John Wick again. Not only did he want to fight him, he he's able to do another kick, like you said, the initial kick to get him distance, and then he does a move where he throws him into like a back. John Wick does like a backflip, and then this gets into a sequence where
I
he's
think he won round two, so he was going around two, or
yeah,
he won round one, so he was going around two a little more confident.
yeah, he was one. He won round one, and he was winning round two before he got to a big speech where he's like,
I
"You know,
know.
you were unlucky, unlucky life, unlucky love."
Yeah, he's like you're unlucky. Yeah, he said unlucky in life, unlucky in love, unlucky in friendship, and fucking he goes in for the finishing hit and totally wastes time there.
Joel, let's give a shout out to Joel, guys. Joel did call us out. He said, I didn't know what he did. I thought he like grabbed his throat, but he actually put his fingers in that cut that he used the card early on to cut his neck.
Yeah.
Um, which is what, but then let's not forget, Killa. Then after that, even despite that, so Killa's won round one and two basically, and and John Wick has him like in a like an arm hold, and he does like this like coat move to like
Well, hey, before that move, when he first like pushes the guys out of the way for that round two, that fight, he delivers a freaking kick, and that
yeah.
bass in that theater is so loud. And then he goes back with one of the best moves, and I mean, he like swings around and hits him, and it's such good like fight choreography, and the sound. It's a wide shot; you can see everything going on. It was just great for an action point. I remember like the first time we were saw it, I remember we were like talking in this scene. We were thinking, is John gonna get out of this? Like he's getting the
Yeah.
crap kicked out of him here. Like,
Right.
what is he gonna do?
And the cool thing about this sequence too is he never needed help from anybody. Like he had to fight this guy one on one. He didn't get an extra shot from Tracker. He didn't get Kane to help out. Like it was
Yeah.
just versus Killa. And
I was worried about that happening.
John Wick does a perfect form tackle, gets him on the ground, and starts just beating his face in. And at this point, I'm like, there's no way I thought he had to have been knocked out from that. He kills two more random guys, and all of a sudden he sits up, uses the inhaler, and then he starts to run off. Then John Wick takes an axe, throws it into his back or butt again, and then this is the point where you and I are like, we wish they would not have killed off Killa, but they apparently like he was killed off. I guess they could bring him back in an earlier movie.
Yeah,
But
he had to in like because of the story he had to. It sucks, but yeah, the thing is, the last thing I have to say about the scene before we move on is the Killa villain. I think in that moment where he's giving that speech is kind of because John Wick usually when he fights these bigger guys, these massive guys, he usually finds ways around killing him. You know, I guess he did kill that one big guy in the first one of that book, but normally he uses like the weapons he has, and so that situation, yeah, he had to improvise because the guy was freaking massive, but he was a really good fighter. I guess what after that he takes the tooth, he gets his ticket torn. No, he didn't. He gets a new ticket that gets him in the family. There's a lot of tickets there,
yeah,
but and then he goes because that gets him in the situation where he can fight the Marquis, who we haven't even mentioned him. Pennywise,
yeah.
Bill Skarsgård, I believe is his name, is a great actor, and he doesn't really have too many scenes in this movie. But he's obviously a great actor, and he does a good job in this movie as being an annoying villain from killing Sharon, obviously. But I do think that's one thing that I wish he would have had. We can hit on later, but I do wish he would have had more fight scenes. But because he picked blades in that fight, so obviously he could fight.
Yeah, he basically his only coin was he killed Sharon to start the movie in a non-fight, and then
Yeah.
he obviously he stabbed Tracker's hand, but again that was like caught by surprise. He never really had an actual fight, and they had the opportunity to go that route, but then this leads to when they meet to have the well here before we even get into that, let's just mention really fast. Winston had one of the greatest walks ever into a museum to meet Marquis. Megan liked to comment that one as well, or Megan comment on that one as well. Uh, like if he would have tripped, like would they have to restart the scene? But basically, they meet somewhere in Italy or Paris uh, to to hash out the rules for this duel. And the first one, I didn't know what they were doing, but then did you realize it was the higher number got to decide the answer? So like
Yeah, it took me 3 times to watch it to realize.
Yeah, John Wick chose the pistols as the weapons, even though I feel like he'd want to use knives if he's fighting the Marquis. And then Marquis got to choose the time because John Wick wanted to go now, and Marquis wanted to go in the morning because then he could have people kill him in the night.
Yeah.
And then I think there was one part I didn't get completely. It was like no quarters. I'm not sure what that meant. What's no quarter means?
No quarters. I thought that meant
They
like
both said it.
no distance requirement. That's what I thought it meant, but there's no way because they were pacing at certain points.
Because John Wick and Marquis both agreed. They both said no quarters.
Yeah, for some reason I thought, even though the freaking Mr. Krabs actor in the beginning, we're going way back to the beginning, but when he goes in and says the place is condemned, it's like the freaking Krusty Krab, and then I, don't know, I just remember him, his voice, Mr. Krabs, when the Krusty Krab gets condemned, and it's like, it just seems ironic that he's the one saying that when the Krusty Krabs. I'm way off topic.
That's definitely a SpongeBob reference. But then probably the most frustrating aspect is right before he's about to leave, the adjudicator is about to leave. Marquis nominates Kane to be his fighter, which is really frustrating. Like you said, this could have ended with him fighting Marquis, which obviously if it was a shootout, John Wick would have probably won easily. Um, which this leads basically. I guess should we talk about the sequence where uh, basically it's the final night when the Bowery King and Winston meet John Wick. They go on the boat. They talk for kind of the final time, basically. And then that whole night sequence is just action after action. There's the initial car sequence, then there's the dodging cars sequence, which just blew me away. And then that leads into the building sequence with the aerial view, which we talked about before. And then that staircase sequence, which is just I want to know how long that was sequence that was. Was that 40 minutes probably?
It's a long time. There is so much action. It is kind of interesting because I thought the car scene. I know we were talking about Megan with it. We were talking with Megan about it, about how like certain cars aren't stopping. But I was thinking about it. There are certain points where it is kind of like the Mario Kart cars that don't stop. But then again, we were talking about how if there were people all shooting guns on a street and like doing that, you wouldn't want to stop. I mean, you
No.
wouldn't want to hit someone. But after when you're going through, I mean, if guns are freaking firing, you can't just sit there, you know?
Right.
And a lot of times if that's moving traffic, so it's a little more complicated. Obviously, certain cars are just running people over, but it is a really cool scene how it's done.
Yeah.
And when someone's gonna be getting hit and the different aspects there, and obviously certain characters dodging cars in freaking epic ways, like the one guy I don't know how to say his name, but freaking dodging cars like
Yeah.
freaking perfectly and sprinting across a lot. Now I did think though that the end of this movie, a way I think they might have done this, I was thinking maybe they were going to try the gladiator method, where John is obviously superior to the Marquis, but he was going to get him so tired and beat up by the time he got to him that it was going to be a fair matchup because he's so freaking beat to heck, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought that he was going to be like injure him that bad or have send all these people after him to where by the time he makes it there, that fight would have been more even only because of that. I really thought he was going to be a good fighter too. But
Chidi was probably the best fighter in the movie. I mean, he not only did he have a kill where he shot someone like this, but like I mean, he beat up John Wick pretty well each time they fought. I mean, obviously John Wick's fighting a million people besides that, right? So
is
it's
there a
not
bear
just
there?
no, like the freaking fireplace turned off.
I thought I heard a bear breaking that door back.
but
But
if a bear's there, that means it climbed up the freaking balcony.
well, no,
But
because that's the thing. That first fight with Sheedy, I don't know if you say his name or not, but when he blocks that arrow, I mean, he's standing in front of like a million guys, and when the swords come out in that epic way, that battle reveal. I
yeah.
mean, going way back. But then let's go back to the car scene.
No, really fast. With that sequence, he was the one who started the fight. He's like, he's in another language. He said, "Kill them all." He's like,
Well, first he said, "No, let's ever get this fight over."
like enough.
Well, we didn't even talk about the scene with the elder. John
Well,
Wick, the elder in the beginning.
John Wick goes to the elder who was killed off by another elder, and he just kills him. So he's like, "So I'm sorry, John Wick, you came a very long way for nothing." He's like, "Yeah, not really."
I mean, yeah, really, anyone that talks trash to John Wick is just that's not a good idea.
No, no.
Especially when you are in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there is not a soul around. I'm sure there is. But why would you be talking trash to John Wick out of all the places in the middle of freaking nowhere?
Yeah,
But John Wick should have known not to kill him because that caused so much crap. But
yeah,
John Wick is so done with everything now.
right.
He just doesn't give an F. But yeah, should we go into the staircase scene or should we go into the
Right before that, the Cheaty characters went to shoot John Wick, and Tracker's dog comes in and bites his arm, and he throws the dog into a car. I'm like, oh no, please don't let this dog just die. But the dog survives, and um, it was a good reveal there. And then that leads to him going to that building, which is that aerial shot, which there was
yeah?
the bullets were called Dragon's Breath, the fire rounds that were really cool. I mean that sequence, it starts from the stairwell where he's shooting up. It gets bigger and bigger and more epic, and it was just an epic shot. I love that entire sequence. And then actually it stops and it goes back to it again, and eventually like there's people killing trackers in there with the dog killing things. Kane
I've never
is
seen that before.
No, I've never seen that before either. And Kane's sitting at a restaurant waiting for Don because like he's supposed to fight John Wick in the morning, but eventually all this stuff goes down, which is really cool. It's hard to even talk about every single aspect. And then Tracker eventually gets up to John Wick, which I don't know if John Wick tackles Tracker, if Tracker tackles John Wick, but they fall through a hole perfectly, and that's cool. And then eventually, this seems I'm like, what's going to happen here? Like in current day Hollywood, I'm like, what's going to happen here? Like, are they going to f this up? Are they going to try to make it sound like Tracker's better than John Wick or anybody? But John Wick overpowers him. Is about to strangle him to death, and then basically he rolls off him, picks up a gun, and can shoot Tracker right in the face. But right as that's happening, Cheaty is about to shoot the dog, Tracker's dog, and this was such an like it really connected with me. I'm like just that connection, calling back to the original one when his dog died. He saves Tracker's dog. Uh, he doesn't kill the guy, but he does save the dog. And at that moment, Tracker, I think, decided like he's not going to kill John Wick. Like John Wick's a good guy, and they can relate now. So that
Yeah, I think if he doesn't have a dog, he is dead. But I think because he had the dog, he realized, well, I either have to kill him and kill the dog, or if I don't kill him, like because if he killed him, the dog would have had to have died. I mean,
right, right.
yeah, he definitely related in that aspect. And uh, I do think though for the end stair scene, I don't know why the tracker wasn't with the tracker should have been there with Kane to fight there. You know,
But you think Tracker should have fought when?
I think Tracker should have been with Kane when John's like, we need to get to the top of the stairs.
Oh,
Tracker came in at that same time.
but that would have been cool if Tracker was there as well. Obviously, Tracker
Like,
does catch him, but that would have been an epic trio scene there. It was a cool shot though of Keen and John Wick walking together. And then
I
what
think
was
yeah, I know it
you know,
was really cool to have that duo, but I just think having the three of them would have been like better and probably more realistic. Because you basically have Kane who can take people out, but then you got Trackers got the bigger guns
yeah.
to be taking more people out.
And then Kane had a great, or John Wick asked Kane, he's like, you want to be at 12 or 9, and Kane's like 9, which I guess means like you want to be like in the flank, to be his flank basically. But let's talk about that scene before that though. John Wick gets kicked down by Cheaty down the entire staircase, which
Oh
was
my
an
god! I know that is a funny scene because literally John has climbed so many stairs and he's killed so many people, and he gets to the top and freaking Cheaty is just like completely fresh, and not tired at all. Even though he did get hit by a car, so I guess he is tired. But he's
Yeah.
just there, and John's like, "Oh crap!" And he just freaking throws him down the stairs because Cheaty is one of the best fighters in the movie. So
That's
the last way to fight is not good.
okay. So he kicks him, and then Cheaty actually slides down pretty well.
He does. He does an epic freaking.
The middle section, and he takes John Wick against a light pole, a lamp. But
I was trying to figure out what that noise was. Like, I was watching the movie. Like, what's that noise? And then you see him sliding down.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Slides down perfectly on the thing.
And like got caught on something like and like fell back. Or no, hey, can you imagine he slid all the way down the staircase and like passes John Wick?
Yeah, he slides too far and just keeps going. John just looks over. You just see him like go by, and he just keeps walking. No, he keeps sliding. John like shoots him, and his dead body's just like sliding.
Yeah.
That would have been all
I mean,
right. We ain't carried away with them. That was a really cool scene. And finally, it was really epic uh, seeing Kane and John Wick walking up together. I just think it would have been more like realistic for them to get to the top of the stairs with Tracker already there, because that was the thing that kind of helps out this movie a lot and kind of humanizes John Wick a little more, makes it to where he's not perfect, even though he does a lot in this movie. Is that the fact that he was kind of helping John out makes it to where it makes it more realistic, in my opinion, because he basically had a guy watching out for him. It doesn't take away from what John Wick can do, but I think it does help out the movie in that aspect a little bit. Even though that's the thing we have to talk about. When John jumps out, this is the one part. If I could take out one part of this movie, John jumps out of a 4-story building.
yeah.
The 4th story, I don't know how many stories it was, hits a car on its side and smacks down on the concrete and is perfectly fine. And that's the one scene where if I could go back and tell the director, like, can you just have him jump out of the 1st story? Don't have him jump out of the 4th. I mean, people are going to think that you can actually do that in real life and survive. I mean, you can't jump out of 1 story and survive, probably, but let alone the 4th floor.
Yeah, I guess John Wick did fall off a freaking 40-story building in the third one, but
yeah, at least he hit the like.
Yeah, he broke his back 4 times on the different things, but John Wick also got hit by 5 cars in this movie as well. We can't forget about that.
Yeah, if you jump on the hood, you could be perfectly fine from that. But yeah.
A couple of them he jumped on the hood and was able to survive, but a couple he got thrown into a car slamming into him, which was pretty.
They should just confirm that John Wick has the Captain America serum and.
Yeah, I mean, it is. There was a cool sequence though where like 4 guys get hit at the same time and John Wick's hitting them as they're in the air with bullets.
Yeah.
But there is something to that though. Just like even early on in the movie, we didn't really talk about it. John Wick just kills 4 people, and then the next wave comes in. Next wave. It's almost like a video game, which is a good idea because that's how video games go. I mean, imagine your game Ghost of Tsushima. You kill 4 people, 4 new guys show up all of a sudden. You know, like
it's like defending the sanctum in Star Wars. Like it's just they never.
Yeah, John Wick needed to park a car and like where they come in from, but then basically after that, Kane has a really good sequence where this is where Chidi dies. Kane is about to shoot Chidi, and Chidi's like, he's like, you can't shoot me, but I can shoot him. And then Kane stabs his hand and punches him in the face. He's like, but I can hit you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then he spits on him too, and then that leads to where Tracker's dog bites him in the freaking not a good area, and then shoots him in the face, and then his dog pees on him, and then he goes to the top of the hill, top of the stairs.
He disrespected him. It's fine.
Yeah, Chidi.
He was a bad character. He does some epic things. I wish they would keep him alive because they could have brought him back in other movies, but just like a lot of characters, they killed off a lot of people in this movie.
Chidi did like survive like 5 different times. I thought he died. So
that's true. He survived one. Watching it back again, he gets hit and flipped by a car. Yeah. He somehow that.
I don't know.
Maybe that's why he did his slide because his leg was hurt, so he had to do the slide.
I think I need to go back and watch it one more time just to watch the slide.
Yeah, we need to go back and film it one more time.
Actor, how did he film that slide? Did he slide his back and like?
we need to find those stairs and replicate this. All right, but I think okay. So we basically have gotten to the end of the movie. John finally gets up these flipping stairs after it's been so painful. Not only does he get kicked down the entire stairs, but certain fight moves, he'll go up through 3 stairs and then do a move and go back down 5, and you're just like, get to the top of the stairs. There's a couple funny scenes where you cut to Winston. I don't know how the F he got up there, but you just hear all this shooting and stabbing and killing from far away. Yeah. And then once he gets up there,
then we have the duel, which honestly, I want to say this really fast. I hope they make a John Wick video game just to play out these series. Can you imagine how awesome that video game would be? Can you fight Killa, and like an awesome club sequence, like that,
Oh
that'd be a great video game. I mean, the movie's already made off like it's honestly like a video game. I play that video game all the freaking time.
no, that this is I.
Right.
You can make a video game just called John Wick 4, and it could be a video game. I
Yeah.
mean, they definitely that would be so
And
friggin'
yeah.
awesome.
And before the final act, you could just, if you're John Wick, you could literally slide down those steps as many times as you wanted.
Yeah, it's free roam to that point, so you can just like start sliding down the steps
Or
before you final boss. Like,
how about this? You can play as different characters. You can play as Cheaty, who you can slide. Cheaty has like a sliding ability, or the shooting ability, or Killa has the perfect spin kick or coat move. You can do over and over again.
well,
I hope
I know if they did that video game, Killa would be impossible to kill.
that's true.
I know Cheaty would have an annoying fight scene, and I know the Marquis at the end would be freaking impossible to kill. You know, he'd be impossible to kill in the video game.
Wow.
But so the end, yeah, they basically line up. You got Mr. Krabs. I'm gonna keep calling him Mr. Krabs. Clancy Brown is the main guy in charge, and he acts all peed off when John shows up. Like he's surprised why he's late. I'm like, you know why he's late? He's got freaking everyone coming after him. But
that was funny. That was a funny scene where you see everyone sitting there and you hear the gunshots.
Yeah.
And Winston's looking around like, that's kind of bullcrap that they can do that. And that doesn't seem like a very fair thing to me. But
well, that's the abuse of power, I guess. The Marquis has.
Yeah. So obviously the high table hates John Wick, so that's why they probably let it go. But the adjudicator, though, basically knew it was kind of reminding me of Gladiator when he's asking the guys for swords, and the one guy who's kind of a weasel throughout the movie is like, "Don't give him a sword, guys." Like he kind of being like screwed. But then obviously Kane and John Wick. It's 30 paces to start. The first time, it's both like an arm shot. Second, when they move to 20 paces, Kane gets hit in the side, and then when they get to 10 paces, this is where I thought originally. I thought they were going to both shoot. They were both going to shoot
those two, yeah,
the two people over there, and then when he actually shot John Wick, I was like, oh gosh darn it.
Well, and before that, remember when the Marquis says "Think of your daughter" and Kane says "F off," and then go on.
No, Marquis did try to give Kane a motivational speech, even though think about your daughter, like Marquis is about to kill his daughter if he doesn't kill freaking John Wick. So it's like, terrible. That's why.
You're just saying like he doesn't need any motivation for this freaking guy.
And when he said, or Winston was like, look at that beautiful sunset, and then John Wick's like, any last words? He's like, just have fun out there. But yeah, John Wick didn't shoot his final bullet, and Marquis wants to have I can't say it was like creme de la creme or whatever, like have the final shot, and he takes Kane's gun after Kane asks, is his daughter free or is his daughter safe? And he walks over and he's like, rolls. And then Winston's like, you arrogant a-hole. He never shot or he didn't shoot. And then John Wick shoots him right in the head. That was a crowd pleaser for sure.
Consequences.
Yeah, consequences. Did you say consequences or rolls?
No, I think the Marquis says rolls, but then John Wick says consequences, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I know John Wick says consequences. I'm pretty sure Marquis says rolls.
Yeah.
But then obviously Winston gives that line, and then you have the tracker laughing, and basically you got the Clancy Brown's character, which I have his name right here. His name is, he actually doesn't have a name. Is he the adjudicator?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he basically says that the thing's been concluded. He's like, good day. He's effing out of there.
Yeah.
He's really too long. So
Mr. Krabs is he like snaps his fingers like
yeah, he's like, let's go. Like, and then everyone follows him. But I don't know what he's got to be high up there in the positions or whatever the high table is. But
wait, Kenny, before you close it up here, remember the scene where the adjudicator's talking to Marquis, like, so this is your grand scheme, duel with the Baba Yaga, and he's like, and then Marquis, then he tells Marquis, like, do you understand that you can shake the foundation of the high table as it stands, and then and then Marquis is like, but it'll do the opposite if I beat John Wick. And he's like, ugh.
Yeah, he says your loss, your death will shake the foundation of the table, and it'll turn John Wick into a saint. He's just basically explaining like you have.
He said, and then after that, Marquis like, but it'll do the exact opposite if I kill him. And then he like laughs at that thought, knowing like it's
Yeah,
impossible. But then
but
yeah, so
basically, yeah, that how it ends. John
yeah,
Wick
he
and
killed Marquis, and then
Kane have
Kane,
a moment. And Kane says like my brother, and then John's like you owe me one, and he
yeah,
walks away,
which
and then John, yeah,
that's a sign he's still alive. He says, "You owe me one."
yeah, I mean he says that, but then as it was going, I just for some reason I thought when he said you owe me one, I was thinking, wow, John's actually gonna survive, and I was like really happy. Then as it went on, I was noticing like the way John was walking. It just seemed like John had nowhere to go, and it seemed like he didn't want to. He didn't want to leave. He was just done. And so
Yeah,
then we get to Winston and tells Winston to take me home. I don't know why. I was still thinking, oh, he's just taking him home because he's injured. He's like, he's just tired. But then when he started walking down the stairs, I was thinking, no, this is it. And then when he sits down, I just kept waiting for something to happen. And then once he fell, I knew he was dead. And then I still think there's a way to bring him back. But I was thinking this is a really good way to send him out.
yeah.
The credits roll, you get Winston and the Bowery King looking at the graves, like we talked about.
I
And when
just
it actually cuts to the credits, I thought, wow, like just perfect movie.
yeah. The only thing I would switch, and the more I think about it, this is the one not really complaint. It's just a nitpick. Is I wish instead of Winston putting his hand on this tombstone when Bowery King's gone, instead of saying farewell, my son, which is not a very good sign for him being alive, he's still gonna be saying farewell, my son. Like John Wick's not gonna be fighting anymore. Like he's retired. He's gonna be like free now for the rest of his life, which that could be true too. But I wish he would have like put his hand on the thing and said Baba Yaga, and then just walks away, and the music starts to play. That'd been pretty epic because, like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Or have someone that let's have that the short hair, have the annoying adjudicator from the third one. I don't know what her name is. She's there, and she's like, "So John Wick's finally dead," and then Winston's like Baba Yaga, and just walks away.
Yeah.
That'd be epic. And then I wish they had done that, but again, this is a perfect ending to John Wick. At least John Wick's story, if they want to go that route. But judging just off of how well this movie's doing worldwide and domestically, they've got to make a fifth one, and they have plenty of characters to keep this thing going. And then obviously the end credit scene teases that Akira is about to kill Kane when Kane's about to finally meet his daughter with flowers, because obviously Kane did kill Akira's father,
That
and
was
that
a heck
you know
scene.
what, we didn't talk about this. This was an epic scene that we don't even think about. After when Akira's about to kill, or Akira's about to grab the sword to fight, and Kane's like, "No, live." And then when she's walking away, Kane's like, "I'll be waiting for you," and the music really gets epic for a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Remember
he
that?
really he's just like so cocky. Yeah, he's so cocky. I know he's basically just like he thinks he's that good of a fighter, and he's just like live, walk back. He's basically saying if you try to fight me, you're gonna die.
And then when she's walking away, he's like, "I'll be waiting for you," and the music gets super epic when she like stops because he knows she's gonna go after him. Which at the end, that who knows what's gonna happen. I hope Kane doesn't die from that.
Well, the
Um,
thing is that's interesting about that is like, which I think all movies should do. People hate end credit scenes. Certain people hate end credit scenes, which I don't know why. Like an end credit scene is such a good thing to add on to a movie to reward people for staying for the credits. That's what I think of it as.
yeah,
People hate it when they try to build universes. People hate when there's an idea of building a universe. I don't know why. Certain people like Chris Duggan. But I thought that was an excellent end credit scene. But I do think the way they should end it with John showing his grave, they should have showed some dirt like start lifting off the ground.
that's true.
And
Or can Winston can tell like someone is like, "See, you dug John Wick's grave."
you dug Melman's grave. You put Melman in his grave now. So I do think, yeah. Honestly, I think we've hit about everything. I had these quotes. I already had most of these. Yeah, the Kane's line, the lights out. The old line was good. Then I had the Marquis line was how you do anything is how you do everything. That was a line from
Yeah,
him. And then Sharon's line was such is life. You know, that was this line.
yeah.
And Yeah, that's all the lines I had. But yeah, heck of a movie. I've seen it 3 times. I can't wait to buy this on Blu-ray, to be able to watch it
Yeah.
in 4K, Blu-ray, DVD. This is
Is that
heck.
the real Mountain Warriors?
I believe so. Mountain Warriors, is that the real? I don't know if that's the real Mountain Warriors or not. But if it is, go subscribe to their channel. It's a good channel. Mountain Warriors, a heck of a channel. If it's the real. But yeah, so Jake, thanks for joining me. I don't know what this is gonna look like. I can actually. I'm gonna look right now.
Okay, it's this. Okay, it's this.
Does it look good?
Look, I'll make it full screen. Look.
I can check on here. Does it look good? Okay, that looks okay. Okay, because right now it looks like it's up and down for me, and I can't turn it
Oh my God.
sideways.
It's about to be like 5,000 different windows here in a second.
Oh my god! What if we do this though? It's a freaking advertisement. Yeah, Jake, you're gonna like create the paradox here, the screen mirror paradox. Oh my gosh, that is trippy. Man, that is weird.
Yeah, I saw John Wick in one of those.
Brain. What?
I saw John Wick in one of those.
Yeah, but I should have hope on me. Yeah, but that was definitely a heck of a movie. It's got pretty good reactions from everyone that's seen the family, including Mountain Warriors.
Yeah, Joel gave it a 10 out of 10, I believe. Megan, did she give it a 10?
I don't know. I didn't get. I think Dad gave it a 8 out of 10. Mountain Warriors will have to correct me on that one. 8 or 9. And Grandpa didn't give a score. But yeah, I really could talk about this movie forever. I think I'm gonna see. We'll have to test it out. I don't know whether you need a channel with eligibility requirements to join this. I think it's only the host, because if that's true, Mountain Warriors 9.5 again. Yeah, I don't know what the 0.5 is going off for, but again, no, 9.5 is a good score. I was thinking if we can get maybe 4 people on at the same time, that'd be really cool. I don't know whether because your channel, Jake, you have 1,000 subs and the requirements. So I don't know whether it would matter.
Yeah,
if
I think those requirements. I think those requirements are out the window because Mountain Warriors was able to live stream.
That's true. Well, the requirements are lower now, but I'm wondering if Zach or Joel made a YouTube account with 0 subs, could they do it? Could they join?
Yeah, Mountain Warriors went down a 0.5.
9 out of 10. Goodness, I must have hated the movie. No, but I see, because I can actually, whoever I send the link to can join. So I can invite 10 people on a live stream, and we can be arguing about something on air in front of 20 people. But Jade, do you have anything else to add from the Gallenberg
headquarters?
Yeah,
I mean, I would say just John Wick 4. Like I said, I mean, being a loyal, diehard John Wick fan, this was a perfect movie in every way, shape, or form. I could see this movie. I can see this 1,000 more times and never get tired of it. This was a perfect movie. The soundtrack. I think this is a great segue into the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I think, in my opinion, the John Wick series and the Guardians trilogy easily by far has the greatest soundtracks as far as background music goes. I'm not talking about a theme like Jaws or Indiana Jones or Star Wars or Jurassic Park. Like, as far as background soundtracks go through the entire movie, the John Wick saga and the Guardians of the Galaxy saga, they blow it out of the park with the background music they have for their movies. And like I said, I was so happy with this movie. Thank you so much to the director. I want to personally thank Keanu Reeves. He did a great job with this movie. I want to personally thank him. Like, I want to get him on the phone right now and personally thank him and say, Keanu, thank you for making this movie. And like I said, I was brought to tears basically the first time watching this. I was that happy because, I mean, think about it. We've not had very many movies that we've enjoyed this much in a long time. I mean, I maybe back to like the glory days of Avengers.
Halloween Kills was close. I mean, that
Halloween
was it.
Kills
Like,
hey, I think Halloween Kills had some great kills, but there's a lot of stuff in that movie that did not necessarily like execute well.
no, I agree with that, but I think were you just talking about like the initial feeling? If we're just talking about the initial feeling coming out of the movies, as far as Halloween Kills, we didn't have that high expectations. We had high expectations, but we were really caught off guard with how epic that movie was.
No, yeah, it was great. I mean, like I said, Halloween Kills is where that series ends. Halloween Ends never happened in my mind. That movie is
Yeah,
dead.
like you said, I mean, the Avengers. I think back to Infinity War coming out of that movie, I was like shook from that movie. No, seriously, like coming out of Infinity War, coming out of Age of Ultron, one of my favorite movies. It was just an
Yeah,
experience. I was a lot
it,
younger. I was
yeah.
8 years when that
I
movie
can't
came
say
out.
this. I can't say the same for Age of Ultron, but
Yeah, you got Skittles poured down your back.
Skittles run down my back. The person behind us have Skittles down my back.
Yeah, Jake was up and out of there. The Thanos
Yeah,
sees
yeah.
Skittles
And
pouring down.
myself, I'm like, I'm out of here.
I'm gonna see my movie in a month. No, but so and like Jurassic World. No, that's a great point. Like coming out of Jurassic World, the first Jurassic World, blown away. There's plenty of movies like that, and I think this year for sure. I don't think any movie can touch this for the top movie. The only ones that have a chance, in my opinion, unless there's some major sleeper movies, are
Guardians.
Mission Impossible and Guardians. Because Mission Impossible has been so freaking amazing lately. That last one.
Yeah.
The cast is going to have to really surprise me because the cast of the last one is what made it so good. But I think Guardians 3 has a chance, and there's some other movies that might pop up.
Hey, movie that we'll be seeing here in a couple days. Mario.
Yeah, Mario. Yeah, the animated movies obviously have a lot stacked.
Wiggler from Mario World.
Because in my opinion, action movies come first. So action movies are very hard to top unless, like, Smile last year was really close to taking down Top Gun for me.
I know, Smile was my favorite movie of the year last year.
Yeah, but Top Gun still, that just goes to show you, like, if Smile was a perfect movie, that ending was perfect, then it could have topped it. But that just goes to show how action is still.
Oh yeah, no,
This
no,
had a off spot for Top Gun.
I should rephrase that. Obviously, Smile was my top movie, but that did not mean it was my I wouldn't go back to watch Smile in the theater more than once because it's a horror movie. Like it was good to watch once, but like you know what I mean. Like I'm not gonna fall asleep to Smile playing on my TV.
Well, no, but I did see Smile twice in theaters though.
That's true. It's true, but still, like
yeah, I'm not fall asleep to it. Yeah, it's not a good movie to fall asleep.
Unless you want to wake up to the one guy saying like, "Get me out of here."
No, I would not fall asleep to any horror movie, especially not freaking Smile, where it's one of the scariest movies ever. That's a movie that, I mean, that's a movie where I was like certain scenes gave me chills.
It was the best time at the theater. That's how I phrased it. Even though Top Gun Maverick was right there, I mean, they were both perfect.
But Smile had scenes that we were getting way off topic, but Smile gave me scenes where I was just like literally shaking. Yeah, I wasn't shaking.
Who was the guy in Collider? He's like, yeah. After watching Conjuring 2, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, the guy in Collider was really shook by Conjuring 2. But that's the thing. And it is worth mentioning before we close this off and I get some comments here, is we are trying to, why do I look, am I looking at the camera? I have two screens here. That we are hopefully getting guest star both back on channel. Yeah. Yeah, Jay, if there's something, if I see something in that door behind you, then I'm going to let you know.
No, that's
yeah, but we're hopefully getting Zach DeBolt back on the channel to see The Pope's Exorcist, even though I've wanted to boycott that movie for a reason I'll tell you later.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll see.
I was trying to get a meal. I get a 5-second advertisement of someone peeking a bird, and that's why I want to boycott the movie. And we hopefully get Ty on the channel to see that because I know he's a horror fan.
Because you get paid for the channel, I get paid for the channel, we all get paid for the channel.
Yeah. So I say we should definitely try to get Zach back on for another review for sure. But yeah, so Kaylin Brand said I'm probably gonna watch Mario in the next few days. It looks amazing. Yeah, it looks really good, and it's getting really good reviews from what I've seen.
Yeah,
see the grade for.
I definitely agree, Kalen Branch. That's a good point.
Yeah, because Bowser Jr. is one of my favorite characters in the Mario franchise, but Bowser's one of my favorite characters as well. Even though he's terrible in Mario Kart, he's a freaking tank, but he's terrible in Mario Kart. But yeah, I guess Jake, you want to wrap it up, or I guess I have to wrap it up because I'm the one hanging.
No, say really fast about Mario. Apparently, critics aren't liking it, which is a good sign.
Yeah. Well, Chris Pratt is starring in it, so that's probably one.
Exactly. Chris Pratt's in it, so that's automatically going to be a flop for most people. But you know what? I want to personally thank Chris Pratt for making that movie as well. I haven't seen it yet, but I want to thank him for playing Mario. I can't wait to watch that movie. I'm excited to see that.
No, we're gonna have an all-star cast to review Mario. It's gonna be.
Speaking of Mario, I don't know. Can you see that pretty well?
Oh yeah.
We got the rocket. We got Koopa. We got Donkey Kong. And we got the. Is it a mushroom or an ant? The thing with the teeth.
I think it's an ant.
That's what I thought.
Okay, but no. What did I say? No, we're gonna have an all-star cast to review Mario. It's gonna be you, me, Keanu Reeves, and Chris Pratt to review it. So be looking forward to that.
Yeah, stay tuned. We're gonna have Keanu Reeves and Chris Pratt in studio for that review.
Yeah, but Jake, actually, if you want to see what happens when you end, because I want to see what this looks like. Like if you leave or if you end, can you see an option to end a stream for you?
I can just hit it and leave.
Yeah, see what happens. I want to see if I'm still going when you leave, then I'll close it off. But you can say something before you do it.
But yeah, guys, once again, John Wick 4, perfect film. I love it. Please go out and support films like these. It was a great movie, and I'm excited to see it again. Excited to buy it, like you said, buy the copy of Blu-ray. I want to buy posters.
The digital.
I want to buy digital, non-digital, iPad, iPod,
CD, iPod,
DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, HD, 3D, every single form of this movie I want to buy. And once again, thank you, Keanu Reeves. Thank you for making this movie. I hope to see more of this franchise, and I'm very excited to see the prequel in Ballerina here. It's next summer, but I'm really excited for it. But yeah, guys, appreciate you guys watching. I'll catch you guys later. Still have some more studying and more research to do here in the research division in a different wing of the channel. But yeah.
The whole time too, so it's great.
Yeah, but yeah, guys, check it out, guys. Great movie. 10 out of 10 for me. I could go higher. If I could go higher, it would be higher. And seriously, I can't wait to see it again. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Kenny will close it up. Bye, guys.
Yep. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me on. Take care, guys.
Yep. No problem. So now this is kind of a testing part of the stream before I end this. I don't know whether Jake leaving ended the stream or not. I am way behind. I have no clue why. But I'm going to see what this looks like here after I get an ad. So this is weird. I don't know whether it's going still or not. Okay, no, I think it's just me on here. I think it's way behind. But yeah, thank you for everyone who watched, who joined this live stream. This was really a really long live stream. But this movie, you could talk about it for hours. Hopefully we can do this setup in the future with multiple different guests. I mean, usually Jake and I are in the same room, but if we're not, then we can all stream from different. I don't know how many people you can do, how many you can have on the screen at the same time, but hopefully we can add more people for future spoilers discussions. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.